All right, let's dive in today and talk about interview prep, specifically for all you aspiring corrugator operators out there.
Definitely a crucial topic.
So imagine this. You're walking into the interview room, not with those pre-interview jitters,
Oh, yeah.
but with total confidence. You've got this. You know the industry inside and out. You know what the role entails, and you're ready to knock their socks off.
Huh.
That's the feeling we're aiming for today.
That's what it's all about. Preparation and understanding exactly what those hiring managers are looking for.
Exactly. And to help us get there, we're going to use some fantastic resources from RoleCatcher. They have this incredible AI platform that digs into job descriptions, gives you personalized feedback. It's like having a personal expert coach in your corner.
It really is a secret weapon, especially when you're up against a lot of other candidates.
But first, for anyone who might be new to this, let's break it down. What exactly does a corrugator operator do?
Okay, picture this. You see those sturdy cardboard boxes everywhere, right?
Oh, absolutely, all the time.
Well, corrugator operators are the masterminds behind that signature wavy cardboard. They operate these massive machines that fold and press heavy paper. It's pretty impressive.
That is really cool. I never really thought about the tech behind something as simple as a cardboard box.
Right. It's more complex than people realize.
So today, we're going to dissect real interview questions straight from RoleCatcher's database. Think of it as a sneak peek into the interviewer's mind.
I like that. A little mind reading.
And to top it off, we'll be adding in those super valuable career insights from RoleCatcher's Career Guide. Did you know that this field is actually expected to grow quite a bit?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a stable field with a good future.
And forget those images of dark, dusty factories.
Yeah, that's an outdated picture.
We're talking about high-tech work environments these days.
It's a whole different ball game. A lot of exciting advancements happening in the industry.
Now, before we jump into the questions, let's talk about what makes RoleCatcher such a game changer, especially in such a competitive job market.
You're right. The competition can be fierce.
It can feel pretty overwhelming out there.
Absolutely. But RoleCatcher helps streamline the whole process. Their AI is really powerful. It dissects job descriptions and pulls out those keywords, those skills that employers are really looking for. Then it scores your resume based on that analysis.
Hold on. So you're telling me I can take a job posting, plug it into RoleCatcher, and it'll tell me exactly what the hiring manager wants to see?
That's exactly it. It's like having a personalized roadmap for your application.
Wow. Okay, and it doesn't stop there.
Nope, it goes even further. RoleCatcher also gives you feedback on your interview answers, so you're making sure you're hitting those key points and speaking their language.
So it's almost like having a mock interview with a coach who knows the playbook for that specific company.
You got it. And the platform offers so much more. You have this extensive employer database, those in-depth career guides we mentioned. It's a complete toolkit for every step of your job search.
It's incredible how technology can level the playing field, giving you that extra boost.
It's all about using the tools that are out there.
And one statistic really stood out to me. Candidates who use RoleCatcher to tailor their applications are statistically more likely to get shortlisted.
The numbers don't lie. It's like cracking the code.
It's like cracking the code. Okay, enough theory.
Let's get to the good stuff.
Let's get practical. Are you ready to dive into those interview questions?
Let's do it.
All right, let's start with a classic. Almost every interviewer will ask this one. What experience do you have operating corrugating machinery? Now, we know you've got the experience, but how do you really make it stand out to the interviewer?
Yeah, the key is to be specific. Don't just say, I have experience. It's way too vague. You need to paint a picture for them. Talk about the types of machines you've worked with. Were they Mitsubishi Evols? BHS corrugators?
Right, and don't forget those certifications. Those are gold.
Absolutely. Highlight those, especially the ones that match what you found in the job description using RoleCatcher.
So instead of just saying, I have 5 years of experience,
Right, which tells them nothing.
you could say something like, for the past 5 years, I've been operating Bob's to Acetrade machines, and I'm also certified in safety procedures for high-speed corrugators.
Now you're talking. You're showcasing your expertise and connecting it directly to their needs.
So it's all about showing them you've actually walked the walk.
Exactly. But let's say the interviewer throws a curveball.
Oh, there's always a curveball.
Always. What if they ask about a specific model that you haven't actually used before?
That's a good one. It happens.
Don't panic. Focus on those transferable skills.
Okay, so even if I haven't operated that exact machine, I can still talk about my experience with other similar equipment.
Absolutely. You can say something like, While I haven't worked on that specific model, my experience with similar machinery has given me a strong foundation in safety protocols, quality control procedures, and troubleshooting techniques. I'm a quick learner, and I'm confident I can adapt to new systems.
I like that. It shows them you're adaptable and willing to learn new things.
Exactly. Now, let's move on to another question that comes up a lot. What safety protocols are important when operating corrugating machinery? This one is all about showing them that safety is embedded in everything you do.
Safety is so crucial, especially in this type of environment. What are some details that could really impress them?
Start with the basics, like mentioning PPE. Gloves, safety glasses, those steel-toed boots, always important. Then highlight your understanding of lockout, tagout procedures. Those steps that ensure the machines are completely off before any maintenance work. This really shows you're putting safety first.
Right. It's not just about protecting yourself. It's about your colleagues and the entire workplace. What about those less obvious safety practices that might really stand out?
Think about things like hazard awareness. You could say, I always do a visual inspection of the machine before I start my shift. I look for potential hazards, things like loose wires or worn-out belts.
Wow, that shows you're thinking ahead.
And don't forget communication. I believe in clear communication with colleagues, especially when we're starting up or shutting down the machine.
That's great. So you're proactive and not just reacting to problems as they come up.
Exactly. Being proactive is key. But now I'm curious, what are some of the common hazards that corrugator operators actually face on the job?
Oh, that's a good question. I know you've got firsthand experience with this. What keeps you up at night?
One of the biggest concerns is pinch points. Those are areas where the moving parts of the machine could trap a hand or even a limb. Following those safety protocols is crucial to avoid injuries. Then there's noise exposure. Corrugators can get really loud, so hearing protection is a must. And of course, there's always the risk of slips, trips, and falls, so keeping that work area clean and organized is vital.
Those are all really good points. And it shows you're thinking beyond the basic textbook answers.
You've got to go beyond the basics.
But what if the interviewer asks about a specific safety protocol you haven't heard of? What then?
Honestly is always the best policy. You can say, I'm not familiar with that particular protocol, but I'm always eager to learn new safety procedures, and I make it a priority to stay up to date on all the latest industry standards.
That's a great response. And it shows you're not afraid to admit what you don't know.
Absolutely. In fact, you can turn it into a positive. Add something like, could you tell me more about that protocol? I'm always looking to improve my knowledge.
I love that. It shows initiative, a willingness to learn, which are qualities every employer loves. Okay, let's move on to another crucial skill for a corrugator operator. Problem solving. This is where you show them you can think on your feet. Are you ready for this one?
Hit me with it.
All right. How do you troubleshoot common issues that arise during the corrugating process? We know you've handled your fair share of malfunctions and unexpected situations.
Oh, definitely. Every day brings something new.
But how do you explain your process in a way that highlights your expertise?
It's all about showcasing a logical approach. Think of it like you're walking them through a hypothetical situation. A paper jam, a warped board, something like that.
So you're taking them inside your head, showing them how you think through a problem.
Exactly. Explain how you'd identify the issue. Maybe you do a visual inspection of the machine, check the control panel for error messages. Then you assess how serious the problem is, and maybe consult the machine manual for guidance.
Right, you don't just jump into a solution, you take a methodical approach.
Methodical is key. And don't forget to talk about specific troubleshooting techniques. Have you used diagnostic tools before? Have you worked with technicians to resolve complex issues?
Those real-world examples make all the difference.
They bring your experience to life.
Now, what if they ask about a specific problem you've never dealt with before? What's your strategy there?
Again, honesty is key. Acknowledge you haven't encountered that exact issue, but emphasize your ability to adapt and learn quickly. I'm confident that with Machine Manual and my experience troubleshooting similar problems, I can find the root cause and get things running smoothly.
It shows resourcefulness and a willingness to tackle any challenge that comes your way. I'm sensing a theme here.
What's that?
It's not just about having the right answers.
That's a good point.
It's more about showing your thought process, your problem-solving skills, your willingness to learn. Those are things that really make you stand out.
The soft skills are gold.
And they go beyond just knowing the technical stuff.
They do. Now, ready for the next one?
Absolutely.
Hit me. All right. Let's shift gears to quality control. This is where you show them that you're not just focused on keeping the machine running, but that you're truly dedicated to delivering a top-notch product.
Quality is definitely a cornerstone of any manufacturing job.
It is. So imagine they ask, how do you ensure the quality of corrugated products during production? You want to go beyond the obvious answer of, I check the products.
Right. Because everyone's going to say that.
Exactly. So you want to highlight your meticulousness, your attention to detail. Talk about specific techniques. Visually inspecting the boards for any defects, using those measuring tools to double-check dimensions, making sure you're following all those established quality standards.
So you're not just reacting to problems, you're preventing them.
Exactly. You're being proactive. Now, imagine they ask about a specific quality issue they've encountered. This is your chance to shine. If you've dealt with that issue before, share your experience. Explain the steps you took, how you identified the root cause, and what you did to fix it. And if it's a new challenge,
What then?
express your willingness to learn and collaborate. Say something like, I'd be eager to work with the team to figure out the best solution.
I like that. It shows you're a team player.
It does.
And whether you have a ready-made answer or not, it's all about demonstrating that you're a problem solver and that quality is important to you.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on to something that's particularly important in today's fast-paced manufacturing environment. Efficiency and organization. Ready for this one?
Bring it on. It's all about maximizing output while keeping those standards of quality and safety high.
Here's the question. How do you prioritize tasks when you're operating multiple machines at the same time? This is about showing you can handle the pressure and juggle those multiple demands. What are your thoughts?
So the key is to show them you can stay calm, organized, and focused.
Even when things get hectic.
Especially when things get hectic. Explain how you assess the urgency of each task. Which machines need immediate attention? Which tasks can be delayed a little bit without affecting production?
So you're constantly evaluating and adjusting priorities on the fly.
Exactly. And then explain how you utilize your organizational skills to manage your time. Maybe you have a system for keeping track of tasks, or you use visual cues to remind yourself of upcoming deadlines.
Right. It's all about having that system in place to prevent things from slipping through the cracks.
Exactly. Now imagine the interviewer gets really specific. They say, okay, picture this. 2 machines need your attention at the same time. One's finishing a run and needs to be prepped for the next batch. The other has a minor issue that needs troubleshooting. What do? You'd explain how you'd prioritize addressing the minor issue first to prevent it from turning into a bigger problem, right?
That makes sense. Get that minor issue out of the way.
Then, once that's resolved, you focus on prepping the first machine for its next run. It's strategic thinking and efficient time management.
Okay, let's shift gears and talk about something that's crucial for any professional. Are you ready for this?
Hit me.
Continuous learning. You ready to dive into this one?
Absolutely. In today's world, you have to stay ahead of the curve. New technologies and techniques are constantly emerging.
Here's the question. How do you stay up to date with the latest advancements in corrugating technology and techniques? Now, we know you're passionate about learning.
Always. You have to be in this field.
But how do you really showcase that passion to the interviewer?
You've got to be specific. Talk about the resources you use to stay informed, industry publications, online forums, professional organizations, those training workshops, anything that shows you're proactive.
So instead of just saying, I read industry magazines,
Which could mean anything.
you might say, I subscribe to Corrugated Today, and I regularly participate in webinars hosted by the Type EPI organization.
Exactly. That adds credibility, and it shows you're genuinely invested in your professional development.
It shows you're not just keeping up, you're actively trying to shape the future of the industry. But what if they bring up a specific advancement that you haven't heard of? How do you handle that?
Don't be afraid to admit you don't know everything. Use it as an opportunity to learn. Express your interest in learning more about that advancement. Maybe ask the interviewer for their insights.
That's a great way to show you're humble and eager to learn from others.
Exactly. Humility goes a long way.
Wow. We've covered so much ground already. From analyzing job descriptions with RoleCatcher's AI to breaking down those tricky interview questions, I feel like we've given our listeners a powerful toolkit for success.
We've barely scratched the surface.
We've barely scratched the surface. There's so much more to explore. We'll be back in a moment to dive even deeper and give you the ultimate guide to acing that Corrugator Operator interview. Don't go anywhere.
We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're diving deep into how to ace that corrugator operator interview.
And we've been tackling those tough questions.
Mm,
But, it's not just about what you say.
right, it's how you say it. Confidence, that's key.
You want to show them you're the perfect fit for the team, not just a skilled operator. And speaking of fitting in, let's weave in some of those career insights we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, let's debunk some myths. Like that one about the work environment. It's not always that stereotypical dusty old factory. Many facilities are high-tech now, lots of automation.
That's a good point. So if you're tech savvy, if you thrive in a fast-paced, modern setting,
Yeah,
this could be a great fit.
yeah.
What about job security? Is this a field with a future?
Absolutely. The packaging industry is essential, and with the rise of e-commerce, the demand for corrugator operators is only going to increase.
Good to know. And RoleCatcher's career guide actually talks about potential career progression, too.
Oh yeah, there's definitely room to grow in this field.
Okay, so let's get back to those interview questions. Here's one that focuses on a really important part of the job. How do you maintain a clean and organized work area when you're operating all that machinery? It seems pretty straightforward, but what are they really getting at here?
It's about more than just wiping down surfaces. They want to see that you understand how a clean workspace impacts everything: safety, efficiency, quality control.
So how do you go beyond, I keep my area clean? What specifics can you give them?
Talk about your system. Do you use the 5S method for organizing? Do you have a set cleaning routine? These details show that you take pride in your work environment, that you're proactive.
It shows you're not just an operator, you're a professional.
Exactly. And that initiative, those organizational skills, those can really help you move up the ladder too. The Career Guide highlights how companies value employees who go the extra mile.
That's a great segue to our next question. How do you train and mentor new corrugator operators? Now, I know some of our listeners might not have had a formal training role before. How would you approach this one?
Think about those times you've helped a colleague troubleshoot a problem or shared a helpful tip. Mentoring doesn't have to be formal.
Right? It can happen organically.
Exactly. Talk about your approach. Do you prioritize clear communication? Do you have a knack for explaining technical things in a way that's easy to understand?
So it's about showcasing your patience and your willingness to help others succeed.
But if you do have any formal training experience, absolutely mention that as well.
Now, this next one ties in with something we discussed earlier. How do you stay up to date with all those advancements in corrugating technology, those new techniques? We touched on this, but let's dig a little deeper.
Remember those resources we talked about, the industry publications, those online forums. Specific examples show you're serious.
So instead of just, I read industry magazines,
Yeah.
you could say, I subscribe to Corrugated Today, and I make sure to attend webinars hosted by TypeEI.
Much better. Being specific shows you're actually engaged.
It proves you're not just keeping up, you're invested.
And don't forget to mention those industry trends. Digital printing, automation, sustainable packaging, those are hot topics right now.
That's a great way to show them you're not just looking for a job, you're looking to be part of the future of this industry.
Exactly. Now, here's one that might seem a bit out of left field. How do you manage and motivate a team of operators?
That sounds like a management question.
It does, but even if you're not applying for a leadership position, those leadership qualities are still valuable.
So how would someone who's not in a management role answer that?
Think about times when you've shown initiative. Maybe you took charge of a project or helped resolve a conflict within the team.
So even without a manager title, you can still demonstrate those skills.
Absolutely. Talk about your approach to teamwork, how you contribute to a positive and productive work environment.
It's those soft skills that make all the difference.
And let's face it, those strong leadership skills can often translate into higher pay down the road.
The career guide shows that more senior roles definitely come with a bigger paycheck.
That's right. Okay, ready for a tough one.
Oh boy, here we go.
The dreaded weakness question. What are your weaknesses? Nobody likes to talk about their flaws.
Definitely not in an interview.
But you can approach it strategically. Choose a weakness that isn't crucial to the job and spin it as an area you're working on improving. Like, sometimes I get so focused on my tasks that I forget to communicate updates to my team. So now I'm making a conscious effort to improve my communication. I participate more in meetings, and I send regular progress reports.
So you're being honest, but you're also showing you're self-aware.
And that you're actively trying to grow.
Growth mindset, very important.
Speaking of growth, RoleCatcher's feedback system can be so helpful in identifying those areas where you can improve. It can analyze your answers and point out where you might be using language that doesn't resonate with employers.
So it's like having a personal coach helping you refine your answers, put your best foot forward.
It's a fantastic tool. And that same feedback system can also help you craft strong answers to those tricky behavioral questions. You know, those "tell me about a time you failed" questions. It helps you frame your response in a way that highlights what you learned from the experience.
That's a great tip. Okay, let's talk about a topic that can be a little sensitive. Salary expectations. How can our listeners approach this without underselling themselves or scaring off the hiring manager?
Research is your friend here. Use RoleCatcher's Career Guide. It breaks down typical salary ranges for corrugator operators.
That's super helpful.
So when they ask about your expectations, you can say something like, "Based on my research, I understand the typical salary range is between X and Y. My skills and experience align with that, and I'm definitely open to discussing a package that's fair and competitive."
So it's all about being informed, realistic, but also confident.
Exactly. And remember, it's not just about the number. Benefits, opportunities for growth, work-life balance, those are all part of the equation too.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground today. From dissecting those tricky interview questions to diving into career insights, it feels like we've given our listeners a real advantage.
I hope so. It's all about being prepared.
But before we wrap up, what are some last-minute tips that can really help someone make a lasting impression and increase their chances of landing that job? What's your secret sauce?
Okay, always have a few questions ready to ask the interviewer. Shows you're engaged, that you're genuinely interested.
Right. It's also a chance to get more information about the company culture, the specific responsibilities of the role.
Exactly. And then make sure to reiterate your enthusiasm. Remind them why you're the ideal candidate for this position. Summarize those key strengths. Leave them with a clear understanding of what you bring to the table.
So it's about that lasting impression.
And finally, a firm handshake, a genuine thank you, and express your eagerness to hear from them soon.
Those little things go a long way.
They do. It's all about professionalism and courtesy.
We've gone really deep today, not just the how-tos of the interview, but the details of being a corrugator operator. What makes this career path so interesting?
It's an exciting field, lots of potential.
But before we sign off, what's that one piece of advice, that one final thought that you would leave our listeners with today?
I would ask them this: how will you use what you've learned today to not just ace that interview, but to truly excel as a corrugator operator?
Think about that. What are your unique skills, your experiences? How will you continue learning and growing? The industry is constantly changing, so stay curious, embrace those challenges, and never stop learning.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And with that, we've reached the end of our deep dive.
We hope you found it helpful. And remember, check out RoleCatcher's full career guide for even more information on becoming a corrugator operator. It's packed with details about industry trends, potential salary growth, and all sorts of exciting career paths you can explore.
So much to explore.
Until next time, happy job hunting.
And keep on diving.
Welcome back to our Corrugator Operator Interview Deep Dive. We've covered a lot, from safety protocols to troubleshooting, even touched on leadership and continuous learning.
Lots to think about. But we've got a few more tips up our sleeve.
Absolutely. We want to make sure you're fully prepped and ready to shine.
Exactly. So let's say the interviewer throws this one at you. How do you manage and motivate a team of corrugator operators? Sounds like a management level question, right?
It does, yeah. What if our listener isn't applying for a leadership position just yet?
Well, here's the thing. Leadership isn't just about titles.
True.
It's about how you act, your attitude. Think back to those moments when you took initiative. Maybe you spearheaded a project or helped smooth over a conflict that was holding the team back.
So even without that formal leadership role, you can still show those qualities.
Absolutely. Describe how you contribute to a positive work environment, how you approach teamwork. Those are things any manager would love to hear.
It's about highlighting those natural leadership skills, no matter what your job title is.
And, having those strong leadership skills can lead to higher earning potential as you progress in your career.
Yeah, the career guide definitely shows that those in supervisory roles tend to earn more.
Makes sense. Right. Okay, ready for a tough one. The one everyone dreads.
Oh, I think I know where you're going with this. The weakness question.
Yep. What are your weaknesses? Nobody enjoys talking about their flaws.
Especially not in an interview.
Right. But here's how to handle it. Pick a weakness that's not absolutely critical for this job and frame it as something you're actively trying to improve.
Okay, I like that.
For instance, you could say, I tend to get hyper-focused on my own tasks and sometimes forget to keep my team updated.
So you're being honest.
Right. Then you add, to improve, I'm making a conscious effort to be more present in meetings and send regular progress reports.
It shows self-awareness and a commitment to growth.
Exactly. And that's what employers are looking for. Now, this is where RoleCatcher's feedback system can be super helpful. It can analyze your answers and tell you if you're using language that might not resonate with employers.
Oh, that's a game changer.
It's like having a personal coach helping you polish your delivery. And that same feedback system, invaluable for those "tell me about a time you failed" questions. It can help you frame your response to highlight the positive takeaways, what you learned from that setback.
So RoleCatcher isn't just for the technical stuff. It helps with those soft skills, too.
It's a comprehensive tool. Now, let's talk about everyone's favorite topic, salary expectations.
Yes, the money question.
The key is to be prepared. Do your research. Check out RoleCatcher's Career Guide. They provide salary ranges for corrugator operators, so you have a realistic idea of what to expect.
That's super helpful.
So when they ask about your expectations, you can say something like, I've done some research on salary ranges, and I understand it's typically between X and Y for this role.
So you're showing them you've done your homework.
Exactly. And you add, my skills and experience are in line with that range, and I'm open to discussing a package that's competitive and fair. You're being confident without being demanding.
And remember, it's not just about the money. Benefits, growth opportunities, work-life balance, all of that matters too.
Absolutely. It's about finding the right fit overall. Okay, we're in the home stretch now. What are some final tips to really make a lasting impression on the interviewer?
All right, let's hear those last-minute gems.
First, always come prepared with a few thoughtful questions to ask them.
Shows you're curious, engaged.
Right. And it gives you a chance to learn more about the company culture and the specific responsibilities of the role. Next, make sure to reiterate your enthusiasm. Why are you excited about this specific opportunity? Sum up your key strengths. Remind them why you're a great fit for the team.
That final impression can make all the difference.
And of course, a firm handshake, a genuine thank you, and let them know you're eager to hear back from them.
Those small gestures go a long way.
They do. It's all about professionalism.
Wow. We've really covered it all, from the nitty-gritty of those interview questions to those big-picture career insights.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. I hope our listeners feel empowered and ready to rock that interview.
I think they are. Remember, preparation is everything. Use resources like RoleCatcher. Practice those answers and showcase your passion for the field.
And here's a final thought for our listeners to ponder. How are you going to use everything you've learned today to not only land the job, but to thrive as a corrugator operator? What unique skills do you bring to the table? How are you going to keep learning and growing in this dynamic industry?
The packaging industry is full of opportunities. Embrace the challenge, stay curious, and never stop learning.
And don't forget, check out RoleCatcher's full career guide for even more in-depth information on becoming a corrugator operator. They have great insights on industry trends, potential salary growth, and all sorts of different career paths you can explore. Until next time, happy job hunting.
Keep on diving.